Welcome to Creator Upload, your creator economy podcast. I'm Joshua Cohen.
And I'm Phil Ranta.
Phil, you're not Lauren Schnipper.
I'm not. Not this time, no. Only on Fridays.
For Halloween?
Yeah, for Halloween. Or just hitting the clubs,
One or both, for sure. You are filling in for Lauren Schnipper, who is at an undisclosed location and can't make it. For what now, the fourth time as a guest co-host on Creator Upload?
Fourth time, yeah. I believe it's now 2 times more than Sean Atkins, which I'm very proud of.
As you should be. We should get some power rankings charts going. We'll have that for the future. But stoked to have you on. For those who do not know, and you should, Phil Ranta is an OG in the creator space, the online video ecosystem. He has held executive roles at Facebook Gaming, Studio 71, and Fullscreen. Phil, you're currently the CEO of the new creator representation company, Stealth Talent, which is helping to turn influence into equity for the creator economy. I want to talk to you about that at the end. But first, where are you calling from? You're at Creator IQ Connect.
Yes, which is actually 2 blocks away from my house. So I'm back at my garage for this, but then I'm walking right over to do a panel.
I really appreciate your dedication to be a co-host here. That's something Sean Atkins would never do.
Yeah, he'd make an intern drive him in a golf cart back.
Something like that. But tell me about the conference and what have you learned?
Yeah, Creator IQ Connect is one of those rare conferences where everybody in the room is a spender. It's what every other conference wants, or conference attendee wants. So everybody is, heavily beauty, fashion, lifestyle, a lot of family stuff there. Day one is just full of swag giveaways. My book bag and a full another bag was full of stuff, mostly for my wife and kids. Not a lot of stuff for the dudes, and everybody's just trying to crack this creator economy code. Almost everyone has the same problem, which is I'm buying against creators. I don't know if it's optimized. Somebody please help me. And Creator IQ's got a great suite of tools for that. But also me as being the talent guy in the room, it was just a nonstop buffet of brand deals.
That's really amazing. There's very few other locations and situations like that. Like you said, that you would be surrounded by brands and advertisers. Maybe Cannes is number one on the list, but is this a close second? You tell me.
I would think so. The good thing about this one is Cannes feels like it's full of really high-level people having really high-level conversations. These are frontline sellers at this one. I would say the average age in the room is probably 25. So you can really get into the nitty-gritty in terms of the people that are actually controlling the ad spend.
That sounds like a great event to be at. And Creator IQ is one of the few huge influencer marketing agencies that hasn't been picked up by a media holding company yet. Captivate, one of its competitors, and Influential, another one of its competitors, were picked up by a Publicis Group. Leaders was bought by Stagwell. Maven was bought by Later. BR Media Group was also bought by Publicis Group recently. So one of the just few remaining big independents in this influencer marketing ecosystem.
Give it a year. With so much M&A going on, I never want to say, that one hasn't gotten bought yet, because by the time this episode drops, we might see an announcement. Who knows?
And were you just hanging out, deal making? Did you catch any interesting panels? What's like the vibe going on? What are people talking about?
Yeah, everyone's talking about AI. I would say that a lot of people are still pretty Pollyanna-ish about it, where they're like, it's a tool and it's going to be helpful. And I think that everybody still doesn't realize what this is about to do to the industry. And then just a lot of talk about more interesting analytics that are going to happen through AI, like being able to be more full funnel, being able to collate bigger tranches of information. So a lot of excitement and a lot of people, I think, that are going to be completely hit by a Mack truck the second AI really starts to take hold.
That's really interesting. So there's this, I think, mostly doublespeak going on with people where they're afraid the sky is falling, but while the sky is falling, they're like, oh my God, I can get a lot done.
Yes, exactly. And that's kind of how I am, right? The sky is falling, but I'm getting 5 times as much done in a day that I was a year ago, according to my Asana. So I can't hate on AI for everything, but I can hate on AI's poetry. AI poetry is bad.
So have you been playing around with Sora at all?
Way too much. It's scary.
I think it's scary, but I also understand that it's not static in its current form. It's going to evolve. Right now, though, I feel like it's much more fun to create these memes than to share them or watch them. And I think it's kind of like dreams. Like, you're really interested in telling other people your dreams, but then you're not it's not really that interesting to hear about people talking about their dreams. I feel like it's the same way for these lots of these AI creations. And I get the feeling that, and I wonder now, I'm of this mind where will it ever be good enough where I could look through a total AI feed and be as compelled as I am with looking through whatever TikTok, YouTube Shorts, or Instagram Reels is today.
I think you might already be, and you just don't know it yet.
For real,
Like
you
there
think
was,
so?
yeah, there was like Hank Green put up an awesome TikTok today, yesterday, sometime recently about this woman who was climbing Mount Everest with her dog and documenting the whole thing. And the dog died. She had to bury it in the snow. She's not actually a real person, not climbing Mount Everest. Dog didn't die. Got 30 million views, and the comments were all, "Oh my God, this is so sad," or "Why would you put this on? This horrific." AI top to bottom, and clearly a lot of people are being fooled. So I don't
Fascinating.
know. Like, I'm against the premise of Sora because being a deep fake machine is going to add a lot of negative things to the world, right? It's going to cause emotional manipulation around events that don't actually happen. And I don't like that. And a lot of instances of bullying, which is already happening. It's just happening with celebrities, so no one cares. But as soon as it's like a rival girl in high school, it starts getting really dark. But you're right. As silly memes about JFK rapping, sure. Why not?
So maybe it's already happening and I just don't know. And we could talk about this all day, but there's some news in our industry that I want to jump into. So, Phil, I feel like television and creators are having a moment. And that's exemplified by a couple of recent stories. The first comes from the launch of this new company called Gaggl, Gaggl. It's a London-based startup. It was founded in February 2024 by former Twitch and TV execs, and it lets streamers broadcast episodes of shows like The Price is Right, Family Feud, Supermarket Sweep, Deadliest Catch, Baby Animals, Gordon Ramsay's F Word, Taskmaster, Baggage, and Whose Line Is It Anyway to their audiences. Why is this an interesting thing? Because streamers are constantly looking for content, and they want to be able to have content that they can make money off of, that they're not going to get copyright claimed against, and that their audience is going to like. An easy way for streamers to figure out what content to put on their stream is if they can just watch something along with their stream and comment on it periodically.
I think that's exactly right.
The downs, because these streamers, especially if you're streaming for multiple hours a day, you're just looking for like whatever you can to fill in those hours and make them compelling. And it's not easy to talk to your chat for 8 hours a day. That's why streaming started basically with gaming, because you could game for 8 hours a day and that was compelling content for your chat and you could interact with them in certain capacities. But mainly it was focused on the game and you didn't have to come up with lots of material to put in this day's worth of streaming. For people who don't game, another easy way to do that is to watch other people's content. That's been a problem in the past. One, because sometimes chat doesn't like it and they think you're stealing other people's content. There's been certain arguments and the meta around this has not always been great because these creators sometimes will get hit with complaints that they're not being additive to the program. They're basically just stealing this content and putting it on their own platform and distributing it out to their own subscribers. Also, many times the rights holders don't love it because they're not getting proper recognition. They're not making any money from the deal. I think savvy ones might really dig it, but traditionally, the rights holders of this television IP want to control those rights and keep it as confined as possible and make money at every opportunity they can. I think Gaggl has come around and created a really interesting concept where they are letting creators use this IP from these different television shows that I named before, and they're paying creators to show it, because now I think the thought process has shifted where instead of these rights holders trying to hold on to everything as tightly as possible and only distribute it in ways which they're getting paid, realize that this can be a great distribution mechanism for them. And they can get a lot more eyeballs on their IP through working with Twitch streamers and even paying them to watch their content, where I think even like a couple years ago, they would try to get their lawyers on all of these people that were watching their shows.
Yeah, I mean, look, this co-watching experience has been a story as old as the internet, right? What was Ray William Johnson but somebody who was doing Gaggl for virals, right? When he
Yes,
was the number
totally.
one YouTuber in the world. Phil DeFranco, React, right? What's interesting about this one is, first of all, other people have tried this. Like Caffeine, when it was first launched, was essentially like any streamer can stream sports games and comment over it. And like that was the original premise until it kind of moved hard into I don't even know what it moved hard into. It moved hard to like kind of culture streaming. Um, but what I think is really interesting about this is it has gotten exceptionally competitive to stream exceptionally long periods of time. Mafiathon has moved that forward, and that was Streamer-thon or Streamer Prom. There we go, Streamer Prom. All of these events are all about kind of 10 hours, 12 hours, 3 days, 1 month. You can't do that without having kind of a constant feed of entertainment. And the way that people have tried to feed that in is like games or have other people jump in or Twitch extensions that allowed people to hang in there for just a little while longer while they went to the bathroom. This is at the very least solves the problem of not feeling alone, which is why so many people watch live programming, is because it's programming that you can talk back to.
Totally.
So it just like keeps you from having that endless void of silence in your brain, and it makes it so you're participating in something. And it doesn't put so much pressure on the streamer to completely burn out by screaming to the microphone for 8 straight hours. So I think it's a win. I just really hope the catalogs improve, because when I saw Gaggl's initial catalog, I was like, yeah, old episodes of Price is Right, cool. What would be great is like NFL licenses, or like during the not to bring up a dark period in our time, but during January 6th, everybody on Twitch was streaming videos from January 6th news coverage while commenting over it. That kind of stuff makes for really compelling new content.
Yes.
And I hope that they kind of get that more new stuff so that we can start seeing some interesting commentary.
Yeah, just to dive into some of the specifics here, the feature on Gaggl is called Reward Mode, which lets these streamers monetize these broadcasts. And it recently tested this mode with the show Supermarket Sweep, partnering with the show's owner Fremantle and Cash App to run a campaign with integrated ads and a giveaway for viewers. From September 24th through the end of October, over 100 Twitch streamers, including Extra Emily, Alex Botez, and Olivia Monroe, so big Twitch streamers, are earning ad revenue while streaming Supermarket Sweep to their viewers.
So you can guess the prices of a can of corn from 20 years ago. I love it.
Greg Mael told TubeFilter us for this story, quote, "The appeal to brands is that we have a large audience that engages with shows up to 7 times more than the creator's other streams," he says. "The combination of high engagement with a huge audience in their hard-to-reach target demographic is very attractive to brands." So apparently streamers are getting great viewership on this too, as compared to their normal kind of average let's chat several hours.
I believe it. Most streamers are boring. And this I mean, it really is true. Like, the reason why people watch gaming is because people get boring after a while. There's a reason why dates don't last 8 hours. They last an hour or two, because people can be entertaining for an hour or two. So yeah, give them a little dopamine. Supermarket Sweep. Have them chase around and grab big inflatable hot dogs. Win some money.
And another Gaggl co-founder, Adam Harris, said, quote, "Creators are looking for compelling content, engaged audiences, and ways to get paid. With Gaggl, we designed a platform that delivers on those needs while deriving measurable ROI for our brand and advertiser partners. Early beta results confirm that this model works for both sides of the equation." I love it. I think it's innovative. I think it shows the direction in which just thoughts around IP are headed in this newfangled creator economy and new just Hollywood ecosystem.
I'm just excited for the Ouroboros that will be bringing in Twitch streams and then have people bring it into Gaggl so they can comment over the Twitch streams.
That'd be great. That'd be great. It's a snake eating its own tail. And then also what's going on in the television and creator world is this is coming out of MIPCOM, which is a big television buying conference that's happening in Cannes, France this week, where Bonnie J, which is a huge French production company, they own Fremantle, for instance, and other shows like MasterChef, Big Brother, Deal or No Deal, and Survivor. And the Paris-based company is kicking off its Entertainment Creators Lab in its home country by reimagining these game shows like Minute to Win It and local favorites like Premiere Compagnie. I hope I pronounced that right. Lauren's cringing whenever she hears this. Basically, it's taking this IP that it has from Fremantle and all these other production companies, both game shows and other types of programming, and reimagining that with creators. So it's choosing creators for this content lab. Each will receive 50,000 euros to kickstart the development of their pilots. Banijay CEO Marco Bassett said this at MIPCOM, quote, "For us, it's an opportunity to test, to launch, and maybe to scale up in the future some of our dormant IP because we have a huge dormant catalog of formats, or maybe to launch a new show." So creators get the benefit of working with this established IP, and they get content too, and some endorsement that they were like tacit endorsement, at least, I think, from the ecosystem that they were good enough to be given the opportunity to use this IP from a company like Banijay for the future. And then Banijay gets an opportunity where if one of these pops, I mean, if a game show hasn't been on for 20 years and then the creator makes a new version of that and it pops, I could totally see one, just more creator versions of that localized around the world, but also it even heading to television or something more.
Yeah, it's a win-win-win-win-win, right? In the same way that ABC has just been reigniting every past game show format, and oddly enough, every single one works, whether it's from the 50s all the way through, because great games are great games. Why not have creators play them too? Like, you could do smaller versions of Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. Let's make a deal. It's all like, as long as you can right size it to something a creator can do capably. Game shows are fun. They're dopamine machines. You like lose yourself in the competition of it. So I think that it's super smart. I what I'm really, really excited for of this is when brands start coming in and using these formats as ways to give away awesome prizes to up level the brand. Like if I was a cruise line or something like that, to be able to say, great, instead of just doing a shout out and say, this is brought to you by Carnival Cruises, play a little game of Wheel of Fortune and the winner gets a Carnival Cruise.
I mean, I don't know the last time you watched Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, but they're a staple in my house now because we watch linear television. And at 7 p.m. on CBS, Jeopardy comes on. And at 7:30 p.m. on CBS, Wheel of Fortune comes on. And the state of Florida is going hard on promo on both of those
I believe
game shows right now.
That demographic fit is perfect.
Totally perfect. And I will say, my kids, my 8-year-old and 10-year-old, will watch it. We watch it all together. And it is this really interesting cross-generational, compelling experience that I think isn't replicated in lots of other forms of media and entertainment. But we all love it, and I think we all love it for like the same but slightly different reasons. It just is so, like you said, it's so compelling watching a game. You feel like it's game night at home.
Right. It's sports, right? It's you get someone to cheer for. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't like that person. I do like that person. Wow, that person's really smart. Wow, that person's really dumb. Like it's at its basest form, it's just like the same kind of sports we've all been playing since we were in the Fertile Crescent.
Were we playing in the Fertile Crescent? I know Mayans were playing lacrosse.
That's
way
true. They
long
were
ago.
playing the game with the heads or the sheep's bladders full of things.
Totally.
But yeah, I think that there were ball games from the beginning of time. At the very least, I'm sure cavemen were playing tag, right?
Something like that for sure.
Something like that.
Moving on to another just related story, I want to talk about clipping. So for those of you who don't know, Phil, you described it as the best/worst kept secret in our industry. And it is basically this idea where a rights holder, whether it's a creator, a brand, a podcast, a television studio, a movie, or whatever, will have some piece of long form video content that they then go to this clipping company and they say, hey, I want you, this clipping company, to cut up my IP into short form, viral, snackable snippets and distribute it all over the place because I want to get as many views on my IP as possible. So then the clipping company will farm this out to just throngs of clippers. I'm assuming it's just a bunch of young kids who are really savvy at the internet and great at editing. And the clipping company will pay those clippers based on the amount of views that their clips get on these platforms. Real quick on the logistics of how this works. Some IP owner has a budget for marketing, comes to a clipping company, says, hey, take my IP, get as many views on it as possible. The clipping company then farms it out to these clippers and says, hey, we'll pay you some kind of CPM. Generally, that's anywhere from like $1,000 for 1,000,000 views to $3,000 for 1,000,000 views or more. And then it's off to the races.
No, it's absolutely true. And in the past, most have gone through this one platform called WAP. And in WAP, you essentially go on, you put in this thing, a bunch of clippers go after it, they win it as a bounty. The problem with that is exactly what you said. You have no clue who these clippers are, and you have no control over what platforms they are. So it's heavily probably young people, probably in Southeast Asia somewhere, or the Middle East, or Sub-Saharan Africa, or Northern Europe, or something, just putting it on every meme page and everything that they possibly can to get as many views as possible so they get a few bucks.
Totally. And now there's been more clipping companies that have evolved because people realize that this is a really great way for the marketing and distribution of content. Basically, the algorithms allowed this to happen in that short form video platforms like Instagram Reels and TikTok made the decision that it doesn't matter how many followers you have or how many subscribers you have or how many views your last video got. Any given video you have that you upload can go viral. So it creates an opportunity for these individuals to create a bunch of different accounts, upload a bunch of these videos, and odds are one of them's going to hit.
Especially in short form algorithms, right? Because you
Especially in
they
short
don't
form
care,
algorithms.
right? Like on YouTube Shorts now, they actually allow you to link to a long form episode for it. They're acknowledging that cut downs are a thing and a way to market a longer form piece of content. It's encouraged.
So a bunch of these other companies have evolved. One is called Clip.tech by Lamontia Warren. Another one is Clipping by Anthony Fujiwara. And the most recent entrant into this fray is MrBeast himself, aka Jimmy Donaldson, who recently launched the clipping company Vyro, Vyro. Why is it called Vyro? I think because it sounds like
Viral.
Let's make it go Vyro.
Yeah.
And he's the latest entrant into this clipping fray, which one makes me think that this is definitely working for creators, or else why would he be involved? And two, that we're about to see it be used by way more people than have used it in the past, because Jimmy Donaldson, I think, is going to be able to bring a much bigger spotlight to this and intrigue many other individuals who maybe didn't know what clipping was or haven't heard of it before. I think they will start to, and they'll test it out and engage with it, which I think once it works for them will lead to just a lot more investment in this.
Yeah. And the reason why I say it's the best, worst kept secret is because a lot of people who don't listen to the Joe Rogan show has seen Joe Rogan. Why? Because of his clips. A lot of people who have never seen a full Matt Rife special, they've seen him all over TikTok. Why? Because people are clipping his content and putting up the funniest moments. In fact, I would argue most stand-up comedians that are big on TikTok for stand-up clips, it's not on their own channel. That's very rare. A lot of people are getting their full sets, or they're doing the Comedy Store and putting up 30 minutes and saying, clip the heck out of this. There'll be 50 clips then put up, and one or two of them will pop, and suddenly that set got you 100 million views.
Totally. And I'm thinking of, like, I'm again of two minds for this, like many things. But one, I think that maybe there's a future where most of my feed is clips. Maybe it is already. And it feels a little bit, I don't want to say disingenuous, but it feels like it lacks some spirit. That could just be more in my mind thinking about it now than in my actual feelings when I'm scrolling through my phone. And I feel like there's a future where just we're going to be more inundated with these clips, and our feeds are going to be a higher percentage of this type of content. And that's going to be kind of compelling, but also just feel kind of meh. The other flip side of me feels like there's a finite amount of really great material out there that has the opportunity to be clipped. Like, these clippers aren't creating something out of nothing. There has to be some spark for them to create this viral fire. And maybe there's just a finite amount of content that they can create that viral fire from.
Yeah, I think that this is a sign that, especially with AI coming, where there's going to be a lot of slop all over the internet, we're moving from a purely creator economy to a curator economy.
Yes.
Where if you can find the best stuff and you can surface it, you become known as a tastemaker in that. Much like meme accounts of old, but hopefully a little more legal than the way a lot of those started in the early aughts and tens, then they could build a real business model out of just being awesome and identifying great moments.
Phil, I do want to talk to you about stealth talent, but one more quick news item before we get there. Speaking of MrBeast, he just filed for a trademark for Beast Financial and MrBeast Financial. This isn't necessarily new news. The fact that he's filing it is new news, but it's been rumored for a while that he wanted to get into the financial sector. It was revealed when his pitch deck was circulated, where he was attempting to raise a couple $100 million of the $5 billion valuation. A financial services company under the MrBeast brand name was mentioned in that deck as a potential revenue path and business opportunity moving forward. Now it seems like they're getting at least a little bit more serious about it, although MrBeast LLC does have like 36 different trademarks in some step of the filing process. So who knows if there's actually going to be a company that comes out of this. But if there is, I actually think this is a great idea. Why? Because if you look at data from Precise TV specifically, they're a YouTube data analytics company that is able to find the actual demographics and ages of who's watching YouTube channels. They peg MrBeast's core audience at around 13 to 17-year-olds. And that's exactly the age when at least 50% of people get their first bank account, usually tied to their first jobs. And if you can get somebody who's getting their first bank account onto your platform, the lifetime value of that customer is potentially huge. That's why, especially during the pandemic, there were all of these financial services companies that were trying to work with creators, including MrBeast. Current was one that did a lot of deals with him. SoFi was another one that sponsored a lot of creators and still continues to sponsor them. And they do that because if they can target slightly younger audiences and get those younger audiences signed up for one of their financial services products or bank accounts, people stick with the same bank for a while. And if you can get those kids when they're young, the lifetime value of that customer can be huge.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't know what MrBeast banking is, so I'm not going to judge it. Like, is it an allowance app or is it a competitor to Chase? Who knows, right? But one thing that I do worry about a little bit is banking is highly personal. You're putting your whole life into it, and you want something that's might be a little stodgier and a little more respected, a little more professional. And I don't know if it aligns necessarily with MrBeast, who I think of like games and like how long you put your hand on a car and giveaways. And like, maybe I'm wrong. I'm excited to see what this turns out to be if it becomes anything. But if it's too much of that, like turning retirement savings into a game show, I really worry.
I don't think it's going to be gamified like that, but let's put it in context maybe that's more applicable to yours of my generation. If Regis Philbin, when he was a host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire,
Sure,
launched some type of financial services app, you don't think you would have messed around with that? You'd
maybe,
have trusted Regis?
I would but Regis was a completely different thing. It was a little bit more class and a little like not that MrBeast doesn't have class. I don't want his army to come against me, but like, you think goofy, and I don't want my banking to be goofy, you know?
Interesting. I feel like that's a boomer mindset, Phil.
That could be. Well, I'm getting to that age.
So we'll see how that progresses. I'm excited to see how it plays out. But Phil, Stealth Talent, what are you up to?
Yeah, I mean, we've all been working, me and my three partners in this business in the creator economy for a combined 50 years. So we were trying to figure out what the biggest problem was in the industry. And what we're seeing is the average creator's career lasts 7 years. And after that, a lot of them end up becoming digital marketing somewhere, or they go from millionaires to nothing very quickly. Now, on the other side, there's a lot of pre-seed companies who are raising a lot of money for 0-1 marketing and giving away a ton of equity. So Stealth was built on the premise of let's cut out the middleman, get creators on cap tables early, have them be marketers for early stage startups as soon as they start launching so that they can take the ride together. And then as the creator goes through the ups and downs of being famous, they still have something very stable that's making them money. And likewise, these entrepreneurs have an unfair advantage in the market because they've got the heft of a creator behind them.
So I feel like this was a trend in like 2014, 2015, when creators were just starting to get more noticed by kind of a greater cultural and business component, and a bunch of these startups in the ecosystem were launching. And back then there was a lot of hype around it and a lot of like, oh, we got these creators on our cap table. They're going to do all this work for us. It's going to be great. And then it didn't really pan out that way. The kind of relationship between the brand and the creator, I don't think they had realistic expectations. I thought the company that put the creator on the cap table maybe thought the creator would do way more than they actually did. And then the creator, I think, maybe thought that the company was going to just kind of do good on its own, or be way cooler than it ended up being in lots of cases. So how do you align expectations here, and how do you make it actually work?
Well, I think that creators have gotten more business savvy in the past 10
Yes,
years.
totally.
Like, more creators are launching their own venture funds. Like the Peter Hounds of the world, he's on 80 cap tables already. And he's started as a singer on YouTube. So like some people just plain get it. Now the problem is you need to find people who, like me, have just been working in influencer marketing forever, that knows how to align incentives, keep people encouraged. Dare I say, gamify it a little bit. Our tech partner, Ohm.ai, is very good at kind of making it feel like they understand what they're earning and how they're earning once that it turns from liquid actual money into capital. And then just try to find people who really get it on both sides in terms of what could happen. And frankly, the downsides of what could happen too. This money might be nothing, but in the long term of a creator career, the odds are that it was going to be nothing anyways. They got to build a career when it's a time to build a career, when they're influential.
That's an interesting mindset. So that they only have a limited amount of time. They're only going to be able to make a certain amount of money on that time. Why not place some educated bets, educated financial bets with a portion of that money? And so maybe you would have gotten paid several tens of thousands of dollars for these tweets or these posts or these YouTube videos, but instead you're going to put that into equity in some of these companies and see how that plays out.
Well, this is the unfortunate thing. Brand deals are drying up in a heavy way too. It's really hard for larger creators to make the same $5 million with those few big brand deals that they made 2 years ago. COVID was a special time for that. So they're using mostly unused inventory. Our pitch is really like, this is not taking the place of brand deals. When you get brand deals, do the brand deals. This is taking the place of your open inventory. And you can invest some of that into something that, yes, it's a little bit riskier in terms of you might not see money on the other end. But if you're doing a good job promoting it and they're doing a good job building it, everyone's going to win.
And you're seeing just simply by the maturation of this industry and the savvy of the creators involved, it becoming a much easier process than maybe it would have been 10 years ago.
Yeah, we've got 55 creators already on board, 25 companies we're helping to structure their cap table, 3 venture studios. So things are moving exceptionally fast. Now we just need to make sure we pick some winners, like anybody who works in the venture game.
That's awesome, Phil. Where can people get in touch with you if they want to get involved?
You can find me at Phil Ranta on LinkedIn. That's where I do most of my posting, or at Phil Ranta on any social network, including Sora. Or you can follow my newsletter at phil.beehive.com. And that's Beehive is Beehiiv, like the newsletter.
I think that can be our upload today for both. Really interested in what you're doing in Stealth Talent. Excited for you to get some winners there. And then when you do, you come back and talk about them on Creator Upload.
You better believe it.
Thanks for coming, Phil. Always great to have you.
Thanks for having me. 2 more than Sean Atkins. I'm doing it.
There we go. And next week, we'll have Lauren back, where I'm sure she'll be judging me about my French. We'll see you then on Creator Upload. Today's show was produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen, that's me, and Adam Connor. It's edited by Adam Connor too. Original music is by London Bridge. You can check him out on Instagram at London Bridge Music. Make sure you subscribe to Creator Upload right here on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, as well, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. While you're there, give us a rating and leave us a comment. If you want to talk, hit us up at info@creatorupload.com. If you like our show, recommend it to a friend. If you love it, just tell everyone. Thanks for listening to Creator Upload, and we will be back next week.